we've got a world launch on the line. The new Panamera, Patrick Dempsey on the line. This car has never been seen before.
Thanks, Chris, down there on the start line. My eyes and ears, of course, for the next batch, the Michelin Supercar run. And some of these cars are timed. So the Porsche Panamera on the line with Patrick Dempsey. Bit of a US heartthrob stroke racing driver.
Yeah, indeed. And this is the new variant of the Panamera. It is getting its debut here this weekend. I saw the guy from Porsche yesterday said it's just coming up today. It's just arrived yesterday, and here it is now.
Perfect. That's the voice of Matt Pryor, Autocar road tester extraordinaire. And what Matt doesn't know about these supercars isn't really worth knowing. So he'll be helping me through the next 25 minutes or so as we welcome the second appearance of our Michelin Supercar machines. Our racers for the road class as well is included in this, as well as the first class. All the cars are housed in the Cathedral paddock to the left of Goodwood House. If you're looking at the BMW central feature, to the left is a secret paddock where the Michelin Supercars are housed. It's great, isn't it, that fans, whether they're road car fans, race car fans, or both, can get really close to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can get up really close, and quite often the drivers will be hanging around, or the company bosses will be hanging around. You know, you stand around the Aston Martins. There's every chance Andy Palmer, CEO of Aston Martin, will stroll over, and you can get really close to the cars and close to everybody.
Matt and Henry, this Panamera is much prettier than the original one, isn't it? They've really sorted the looks out, and off the line it goes like a rocket.
Patrick Dempsey then in the Porsche Panamera is our first car away. And do you know what, Matt? The rain has stopped. It's still a bit greasy out there, isn't it, in places?
It is, yeah. It's pretty hairy everywhere. In places, I think. I mean, I speak to one of the drivers this morning who said it is very slippery, even in the dry. So I would imagine that it is far worse now. I wouldn't fancy being one of these timed drivers myself.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever fully recovered from the thunderstorms of earlier in the week.
No, exactly.
The tarmac's always been cold. And of course we've had these showers today which have soaked it. We had a dry day completely yesterday and saw one or two quick times. We're not going to get the super quick times today, of course. Many of these Michelin Supercars are timed. This is the Supercar Shootout, which has been won in the past by Nissan racer Jan Mardenborough in the Nissan GT-R. So cameras trained on US actor and racer Patrick Dempsey, who is more used to 911 GTE power, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And this Panamera, if you just look at the lights, I don't think this is in quite final form. It looks like those lights are slightly stickered over, but it is a much better looking car than the Panamera that came before it.
Absolutely right. I was going to say, it sort of seems smaller and more slippery, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. They've sort of rounded the edges slightly. It makes it look less bulky and, far more attractive.
It's the familiar trident of Maserati, isn't it, down there?
It is,
on the start line.
And the way they're putting that block in front of it suggests that it will be timed.
Very good, Detective Pryor. Very good. Yeah, the lights go from red to green, and you are free to go in your own time once the light is green. And you obviously you break the beam, and the clock will start. Mostly pro drivers in these cars, Matt. They're all competition licence holders.
Indeed, yeah. It's funny enough, isn't it? You don't have to be a competition licence holder for every class here, but in the supercar class, you do, because well, in the past you've had the odd foot Malcolm. So so pretty much everybody in the supercar run is definitely a competition licence holder. Anybody going for a timed run has usually been hired for the fact that they can do this quite tidily.
Yeah, Maserati Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo, of course, the original translation of GT. Big, powerful, front-engined mile-eaters, continental cruisers. And he's down to Malcolm, hard on the brakes, gets it turned in. Inch perfect at the apex there, a little bit sideways on the exit.
Yeah, it's still very slippery there, isn't it, certainly?
Yeah, it looks dry down at the start there. I think the start line has been protected by the horse chestnut overhang that we have on the avenue of trees before the house.
Yeah, it certainly looks wetter the further up you go, doesn't it? Well, maybe there's a slightly dry line through this gap here.
Not sure who is at the wheel of the Maserati, or whether indeed it is being timed. I suspect not. No clock is running on the screens. If a time pops up, we may well know for sure.
Yeah, and it is Bill Shepherd driving this Shelby American Mustang, which has got a ludicrous amount of power, about 850 horsepower. I don't think he'll be able to use all of that. He's having a go in front of the house, but it will be extremely slippery in a car which is not renowned for its outstanding traction.
Yeah, Mustang guru Bill Shepherd. His place is around the corner from me in Byfleet. up in Surrey, and he's been doing that for a long time. He's got some.
He has, hasn't he?
Got some cool bits of kit in his showroom, I tell you. Yeah, very wet at Molecombe. Takes it very easy. Big front engine V8, rear wheel drive.
Yeah, you'd want to get that stopped, wouldn't you? Certainly, if you wait until you've seen Molecombe before you start braking, it is.
Yes,
very probably too late.
Yes, if you do that, you're in the accident before you've decided that you don't want to have it. The Polish supercar. The Aranera.
Exactly. The Aranera, which is quite cool, isn't it? It's developed from a GT4 race program, has now become a road car. It develops much more power as a road car because it doesn't have any air restrictor issues or anything like that. So we're looking at 600 horsepower plus for this.
Great on-board shots of Peter Frankowski in the Aranera, the Polish supercar. What's it powered by?
It's a mid-mounted V8 engine, so it really presses on.
And is that a self-built engine?
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It is sourced from elsewhere. It's 5 litre V8. I think it's Ford V8.
Right. The clock is ticking on this one. Bill Shepherd, he stopped the clock at 79.24. Still good for 87 miles an hour across the finish line. Justin Law's coming as well in something that's going to be.
Is he in the Rolls-Royce black badge?
In the black badge?
Yeah, he may well be.
He may well be, yeah.
God, that is going to make.
Yeah, we've got some different camera angles in our studio showing great clumps of mud that have been pulled onto the course where people are cutting corners. That's a Wraith, isn't it, the black badge?
It is, yeah, it is, yeah.
Quite quick.
It is quick, isn't it? It's fast. Well, it makes more power than a standard Wraith, and Rolls-Royce hesitates to use the word sporting, but it is even more driver focused, so it's a little bit stiffer, a little bit sharper, so it will be very, very quick, especially with Justin Law driving it.
Yeah, it is Justin Law there, confirmation on the screen, and the clock is ticking. It's going to be won't be a sub-60 climb, but it'll be pretty close, and he stops the clock at 65.05, almost 1.5 seconds quicker than our previous benchmark. Justin Law, we've seen many years in the big Jaguar Group C cars. He's here in the IMSA Bud Light Jaguar as well. He's already been up today in that car, set a very quick time in the wet.
And at the wheel of this Jaguar F-Type SVR is David Cook, who is a Jaguar ride and handling engineer, so really knows this car better than pretty much anyone else. So I would imagine this will be quite a quick time as well.
Fastest at the moment is Justin Law, isn't it? 65.05 seconds. And that is quicker. Is that going to be quicker? Not quite. Oh, he's only 0.3 of a second down. 65.41 for David Cook. Yeah, so he spends his whole day going sideways.
He spends his entire
perfecting damper settings.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
What a
it's not a terrible job, is it?
Sure,
that was a long time at tracks for a long time at Nürburgring. Yeah, just really making these cars ride and handle like they do.
Here's a man to look out for. It's British touring car star Rob Collard, who of course races a West Surrey Racing 1 Series BMW in the BTCC, and he's currently second in the points to teammate Sam Tordoff, who we've seen in the BTCC shootout already. So Rob, in the it's an M4 GTS, Matt, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That is interesting to see what tyres it's on, because that is a sort of car that could potentially be a handful in these conditions if it's so stiff, so set up so stiff. It's sort of BMW's equivalent of a 911 GT3, if you like. So it's quite a machine, but
very road legal, but track focused.
Yes, exactly. So unless you've got really sort of wet specific tyres on it, could be quite a hairy rider.
Yeah, he's not going for any silliness, is he? He's down. He's way down on Justin Law's benchmark of 65.05 in the black badge Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, and even some of the time drivers say they are not necessarily going to be pushing things this afternoon, because some of these cars are pretty rare. Some of them are sold to customers already. So yes, there will be differing levels of commitment, I think.
Yeah, some of them will need to be polished and back in the showroom on Monday morning.
Absolutely, yeah, right.
Stuart Mosley is out on the course in the Audi R8.
Audi R8, yeah, V10 plus. So it's a powerful car. It's 600 horsepower, but it has four-wheel drive as well. So in these conditions, you could expect it to have an awful lot of traction. Not dissimilar under the skin to Lamborghini's Huracan.
Yes.
They both run a four-wheel drivetrain and are pretty much the same 5.2 litre V10, making the same amount of power.
71.27 for sports car racer Stuart Mosley. If you're just tuning in, our fastest time so far, 65.05 for Justin Law. On board with factory Aston Martin racer, Darren Turner. We're going to go all the way up the hill with Darren. He's returned from Le Mans last weekend racing the GTE Aston Martin Vantage. Here he is in the absolutely ferocious Vulcan. Is he in the Vulcan or is he in the GT8?
This is a GT8.
It's a GT8, isn't it? Yeah, beg your pardon.
GT8. I think Peter Dunbreck is driving the Vulcan today. But Darren will be pushing on. He's very close at that split time, actually, to the fastest there. I think he was only what is he through? He's about
30.48 against 31.12. Yeah, so we're less than a second behind. Through the flint wall, through the S's. It's still very wet there by the flint wall. There's going to be so careful. What's he going to do? 65.05 to beat. It's going to be close, isn't it? I think he will be a little bit behind. Here we go, Darren Turner. Will he be quicker? Not quite. It goes to a 66.86, 1.8 seconds adrift for Darren Turner. Ferrari California on the line there. Coming through Morecambe.
GT racer Joe Osborne at the wheel, is it? No, it says not. It says Rob Manger there, but Joe Osborne on our time screens is driving the car that will follow this California thing.
That's a new version of the California, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Special version. Turbocharged engine in the California these days. It's a 3.9 litre twin turbo V8. It's quite a good noise, actually.
Turbos are cool again, aren't they? Because they're efficient now. We've even got Porsche doing turbocharged engines.
Yeah, really efficient, give you lots of power at low revs. That will be Joe Osborne.
That is Joe,
yeah. He does quite a lot for McLaren, actually. Looks after some of their customers as well, some of their drives. So he is a very, very quick racer.
Yeah, races in GT3.
Yeah, started his life in cars. Then went through to Formula Renault, didn't he?
That's right.
Yeah, quite a big off, and does well in GT3 these days.
So the benchmark time, the time to beat, a 65.05 set by Justin Law in that huge but very potent Rolls-Royce Wraith black badge. Where are we? 66.57 for Joe Osborne. It's a shade off. It makes him a fraction quicker.
Fastest, does it?
Fraction quicker than Darren Turner. Kieran Haggerty, a young Scottish single-seater racer. He's out in, that's a trick McLaren, isn't it?
It is, yeah, 570S Sprint. So it takes the 570S, which you just saw Joe Osborne driving, and it adds some of the GT3 bits from the race car. So it sits somewhere between the two, and you can have it as a road car, and you can spec it up, and it is really very, very fast indeed. If this is anything to go by, look at that.
Oh yeah, comfortably quick. It's Kieran Haggerty, a 62.18
seconds.
Yeah, in the McLaren. So that pushes Justin Law down to second place. Brazilian veteran, super cool guy. Tommy Erdos is out in another of the McLarens.
Yeah, special McLaren this. They're not making very many, they're making 50 to celebrate 50 years of Can-Am. It is the 650S Spider Can-Am Special. Comes in this trim. As you can see, it's got the MSO number plate, which is McLaren's Special Operations Division, and they are responsible for producing these specials and tweaking up some of the cars for one-off customers.
He's not going to be troubling Kieran Haggerty, and that puts him fourth or fifth quickest. Behind Kieran Haggerty, Justin Law and Joe Osborne. So 62.18 is our fastest time at the moment. Rob Garofol is on the course in another of the McLarens. That's the London Town, isn't it?
Yeah, the 675 LT. Look at that air brake coming up as he brakes up there. Yeah, a lot of movable aero on the 675, like the 650. It's all carbon bodied, carbon tubbed. It's it's a pure road car.
Does the air brake come up with certain brake pressure? It won't keep coming up if you're tapping the brakes around the town.
If you're just doing it down the motorway, it won't come up. But if you're applying lots of braking, it comes up. It A, slows the car, and B, keeps the back of the car far more stable under braking.
Yeah. Some great shots there up in the top paddock of Darren Turner talking to Rob Collard, and I saw Ollie Jarvis, Spa 6 Hours winner earlier this year, an Audi Le Mans driver. I think that might have been Ollie in that Audi rather than Stuart Mosley.
It was.
Yeah. So that's the one of the very exciting parts to the Festival of Speed. We get all sorts of different drivers jumping in. Please, can I have a go? And usually the answer is yes. Charlie Hollings across the line in the P1 GT-R, 66.84 for Charlie Hollings, another of the McLaren development guys. We see these guys quite a lot in the week at Goodwood testing these McLarens.
Yes, of course, yeah.
He's another one of those.
Is one of the bosses at General Motors, so which is why he's in the Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, he doesn't want to look silly, does he?
No, he doesn't. No, he's happy
going
to have it timed, and he's been up here before a few times. But yeah, I think he will take it rather more conservatively.
The Nissan,
like is that Jan and Marlborough in that? Is it? Yes, it is.
Classic.
Yeah,
it always goes quiet in the commentary box when someone comes squirreling over the brow into
Malcolm to the bales there.
Yeah, I think this is. Yeah, he's going to be fastest, isn't he?
He looks that way.
He's got four-wheel drive.
He's got four-wheel drive. He's got the 2017 GT-R, and the GT-R's been around since about 2008, and Nissan keeps tweaking it. They've got a team dedicated to just every year making changes.
Here we go, guys. So a sub-60 climb. Yes, indeed. 59.76 for Jan Mardenborough. 2.4 seconds quicker than our benchmark time set by Kieran Haggerty. Paul Rees, who is a Porsche Carrera Cup GB racer, he's in another of the special edition 911s.
He's in he's fairly going for it too, isn't he? Look at that.
Is it getting blimey? Wow, he's even quicker than Jan Mardenborough. Right, keep your eyes peeled on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Rees is he going to go quicker than 59.76? 56, 57, 57.63. It's drying out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that is a Turbo S he's in as well, so he's got a big traction advantage because of where the engine is and four-wheel drive.
Fantastic, 57.83. Anthony Reid, a previous winner in the Chevron GT3 a few years ago, and is that a Noble, Matt?
It is a Noble. That is the M600 Speedster, which is available for the first time with an auto. This doesn't have it. No, this does have it. So it's so it's not necessarily the fastest M600, but it's going extremely quickly.
Yeah, he's not going to go quickest in the Noble, but that's a stonking time from Paul Rees.
Stonking time, and that car has got 650 turbocharged horsepower and no traction, no ABS. So you really, if you get it to go that quickly, you're really pedaling hard.
Lady racer Laura Tillett, she's out in the. That's an interesting bit of kit.
Yeah, that's the Xenos E10. It's a cool car. It's an affordable track car. This one is the E10R, so it makes a bit more power than standard. Has a Ford 2.3 EcoBoost engine. Costs about 40,000 quid. It's just a fun, usable mid-engine track car.
She looks like she is having fun,
she does look like she's really on
and being usable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Laura Tillett. She's some way down at the first split, the intermediate point just before Moulcombe Corner. If you're just tuning in here to one of the big screens on site or on the live stream around the world, good to have your company. We have the Supercar Shootout. And fastest at the moment, Paul Rees in the Porsche 911, a 57.83. That compares with the ultimate hill record, which is a 41.6 set by Nick Heidfeld in a McLaren Formula 1 car. Is that David Pittard in the 311?
In the 311, yeah, and not very far into the course before that has gone wrong. But he's back on track and back on it.
There's Laura Tillett just flashing across the line, a 72.51. So some way off a benchmark time, but she probably wasn't even going for a time.
No, and I suspect, given the way that 311 has just turned around as well, these conditions really suit the big, powerful four-wheel drive machines rather than these lightweight track cars.
Yeah, it is David Pittard. Yeah, former, he just kept that Union flag wing end plate out of the straw, didn't he?
Yeah.
He almost had himself a cockpit full of shredded wheat there, but got away with it.
Yeah, just shows you how hard it is to get these cars stopped.
Very cross with himself, isn't he? He's ruined his run. Yeah, David Pittard, a winner in the Ginetta Supercar series that supports the British Touring Car Championship.
And pretty good going to have turned around like that and still be only 13 seconds off the top line. So the second half of that run was very, very fast. That's the Elemental RP1 you see here. It's nearly ready in its final production form.
The Elemental.
Elemental, yeah. And it's unlike some of these mid-engine lightweight roadsters that have a transverse engine, it's a longitudinal engine, so the centre of gravity of the gearbox behind it is very low, so it does handle like a pure track car. Lots of underbody aerodynamics, which you can just see the diffuser on the back there. and just behind the front wheels you see where the air comes in, the diffuser at the back where it comes out, so it generates an extraordinary amount of downforce.
Nobody's getting near Paul Rees's time. We've got a Caterham, one of the one of the super quick Caterhams, isn't it?
The fastest one, yeah. The 620R would be a real handful in these conditions, I think, because it's a 550 horsepower car with 310 horsepower.
There's Paul, confirmation of times then. Paul Rees fastest with 57.63, and he's ahead of Justin Law and Kieran Haggerty. This is John Barnes, former British GT champion. And he's going to get just a whisker over 60 seconds, I'd say. What's he do? Yeah, 61.76.
On the tyres, that is
4 seconds.
And given how much that car weighs in these conditions, that is extraordinary.
Here we go, classifications as they stand at the moment. Quickest, Paul Rees, Porsche Carrera Cup racer, in a 911, 57.63. Ahead of Nissan Jan Mardenborough, 59.76. John Barnes, former British GT champion in that Caterham, 61.76 seconds. Fourth, Scotsman Kieran Haggerty in a 62.18. Anthony Reid, former winner of this event in the Supercar Shootout, is fifth on a 63.97. It's the Praga, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is, and it's going fast. You might not have heard of Praga. They stopped making cars 68 years ago the first time, but they have now begun again. But they have lots of experience in karting and lots of experience in aerospace, both of which lend themselves quite well to track cars like this.
Yes, looking at that doesn't strike me as 68-year-old technology.
They've
not exactly picked up where they left off, have they? They've started again.
They started from scratch, absolutely.
So the Praga is going to not break the 60-second mark. Comes across the line to record a 62.85. Radical. The Radical's away in many ways.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. This is a road car. Can you believe it? It looks, for all intents and purposes, like a Group C race car. And well, that's kind of where it started life. Radical sell more racing cars than anybody except Porsche.
That's a great stat.
It is a great stat, isn't it? Yeah, they sell about 100 cars, 100 racing cars a year, and there are not many people who do that. At the wheel is Radical's own Roger Green. I spoke to him earlier. He said he's not actually going to be flat out for this one. I think it's a customer car.
Roger Green, ex-road tester.
Ex-road tester from
absolutely.
Various makes. Yeah.
So they do this one. Is this the RXC?
This is the RXC Turbo, yes.
Yeah, so they do SR8s, SR3s.
They do SR3 SL. They've put even one through sort of unlimited type approval, if you like. So yeah, they do take selling road cars very seriously, just as they do selling racing cars.
No, he's not going to be in the top few times, but he's safely towards the top. Just the last long uphill left-hander. And if you watch some of the onboard footage over the course of the day, you see how that corner is completely blind. I mean, it's a real leap of faith. The grade, you don't get an idea of the gradient really unless you're either doing it or watching the onboard. Ollie Webb, the sports car racer, LMP1 star, raced at Le Mans last weekend. He's in the BAC Mono.
He is,
which is about as selfish as supercar ownership can get.
Yeah, isn't it? It's just, if you look at it, it just is pure single-seater, and it's monocoque with double wishbones front and back, a mid-mounted engine with a gearbox behind it. It is, as selfish as they come. And Ollie, I strongly suspect, will be going for a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the later you go, the drier it's getting. You can see how much drier it is at Moulcombe now. It's not fully dry, which may lull drivers into a false sense of security. A bit of a wiggle on the exit of Moulcombe there. There are still damp patches all the way up to the flint wall.
Aren't there? Yeah, and this is where the sort of skill of a hill climb expert comes in, isn't it? Is finding out exactly where those dry patches and those pieces of grip are.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on the time. He's got 57.63 to beat. I don't think he's going to be quicker than Paul Rees in that Porsche. Paul Rees's 911 four-wheel drive.
It is, yes. It's a Turbo S, so it's got 570 horsepower and four-wheel drive, which is certainly away from the line and certainly out of a couple of corners here will be a big advantage. I think him and Jan Mardenborough in the GT-R have that four-wheel drive advantage. 62 seconds dead for Ollie Webb in the BAC Mono. That puts him fourth quickest. Wonderful sight as our Michelin Supercar runners queue up to make their way back down to the Cathedral Paddock, the other side of Goodwood House. Here's confirmation on the screen, then the standings from the Hill Climb Shootout qualifying for the Michelin Supercars. Paul Rees was quickest in the 911 Turbo S on a 57.63. He eclipsed previous winner Jan Mardenborough in the Nissan GT-R on a 59.76. John Barnes was third in the Caterham 620R on a 61.76. Ollie Webb fourth in the BAC Mono on a 62 dead. Ahead of Scott, Kieran
Haggerty in the McLaren 570S Sprint on a 62.18. Thomas Vocezia was 6th in the Praga R1R on a 62.85. Previous winner Anthony Reid 7th this time in the Noble M600 Speedster on 63.97, and 8th Justin Law in the very big but potent Rolls-Royce Wraith Black Badge on a 65.05. David Pook was 9th in 65.41 in the Jaguar F-Type, ahead of Rob Garofal, Joe Osborne, Tom Mills, Charlie Hollings, Darren Turner, Thomas Erdos and Roger Green.
Here a couple of years ago in the original McLaren F1 car, he's quickest to the first 100 metres, a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the first corner, has to back out a little for the second right-hander, the Lanzanti run car.